Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sydney Carty. I am 28 years old, and I am currently a speech language pathology student through University of South Florida in Tampa, Florida. If you have stumbled across my website, that means that you also have an interest in minority and how that relates to recovery after a stroke. So I wanted to take a little bit of time to get on video, explain who I am, why I chose this topic, why I've created this website, and give a little more information about how to navigate through this website and what it's intended to offer you. So when when I decided to go back to graduate school or to go back to school, I wanted to become a speech language pathologist to work with stroke victims in particular. I have had a neighbor, she's lived next to my parents the entire time that I grew up in our childhood home. Mary, she was the life of the neighborhood. She was the host with the most. She threw the parties. She always any holiday, it was, what was Mary gonna do for everyone? She was just the funniest lady, full of life, uh, full of personality and charisma, and she was really kind of the hot thing. Unfortunately, Mary had a stroke at the age of 55, and it completely changed her life. She went from being the most social person that I had ever met to not being able to communicate at all. Many years of rehabilitation got her back to a a level of communication that has been sustainable, but nowhere near what she used to be. And now, when her and her husband throw get togethers, Mary sits in the corner and she rarely socializes with the group. She does have a numbness in one side of her face. Um, There's some drooling still that happens. She cannot speak very clearly certain phonemes or sounds she cannot pronounce very well, and she struggles a lot with communicating. And so seeing somebody that was so vibrant and full of life and could talk to anybody and was the most confident person in the room, to having this major life-changing experience completely shatter who she was, just really stuck with me. And I thought to myself, how can somebody's life completely change when they're only halfway through? At 55 years old, she still has maybe 30, 40 years of communicating and socializing left in her, and the recovery just isn't there. So that is why I have decided to become a speech language pathologist with a focus on stroke patients. I hope to work in a rehabilitation setting and really focus on getting people back to a good place or reaching higher milestones, and really working diligently with, maybe neurosurgeons or other people in my team to really help get these people back to a quality of life standard that they're looking for. So that's my story. That is why I have grown fascinated with this topic. Um, to break it down further, I thought it was interesting that minorities actually have a harder time with rehabilitation and getting back to that quality of life than even, white Americans do. Um, Minority and stroke patients, a few facts that stood out to me during my research was that 55,000 more women have strokes each year than men. 2 times as many African Americans will have a stroke than the majority white Americans. And of those African Americans that have stroke, 2 times more likely to die from stroke than white Americans. Last piece of information I found to be extremely interesting was that 1 in 3 Hispanic people have a stroke, and they have them at a younger age. Also, when they have a stroke, they don't understand the symptoms, and they actually don't know they're having a stroke until it's more severe. They might have more mini strokes without understanding they're having a stroke and not catch it in enough time as somebody else may be able to. Through my research, I also have come across a pattern of data that minorities are more susceptible to the major risk factors that will then lead on to having a stroke. These risk factors include smoking, high cholesterol, obesity, high blood pressure, and physical inactivity. Of the minorities that fall into these major risk factors, we see that African Americans are at a much higher rate. That to me really stuck out, and is one reason why I want to get involved in more of a prevention program whenever I graduate to in the Tampa area to help support education and prevention of those risk factors. I also read a lot about the inequalities in healthcare. They're called healthcare disparities. 4 major areas stuck out to me. That's the environment, their access to services, the individual's health status, and the difference in their own personal health outcomes. With that being said, my plan for helping to battle this or combat this major trend and discrepancy in stroke patients is to really get involved in prevention programs in the Tampa Bay area. Hopefully through this website, we can kind of build on this knowledge database and share a lot of information, just really bring together a lot of resources for communities that may fall more susceptible to strokes, helping to educate different communities on the risk factors that will lead to stroke, and really just get out into the communities, boots on the ground, providing that really valuable information that they might not be aware of, especially like that Hispanic community that may not even know much about what a stroke even is. So with that being said, there is a very great start to some information on my website. You will see some peer-reviewed clinical articles that you can look through. Hopefully more to come on that note. You will also see some websites, some blogs, some information from the internet that have also been attached through a hyperlink that you can click on. Some videos, just some videos that I thought really explained what is a stroke, who's at risk, how to prevent it, and really just a catch-all knowledge for minorities and how they are affected by stroke. And a little about me and how to contact me if you also feel interested in exploring this topic further. So with that being said, thank you again for taking the time to look at my website that I've created. I hope that it provides you with some good information, and if you'd like to add or collaborate or get involved in this topic along with me, please let me know. Thank you again. Enjoy.